when I realized like people aren't just going to come because you put out your shingle, I was like, okay, I have to make friends. And who should I make friends with? And it naturally started because I like going to the gym. And I would go to different classes and I was just making friends with people. And eventually the question becomes, what do you do? And that's how it naturally would happen.
Welcome to Uncopyable Women in Business. I'm your host, Kay Miller, also known as Muffler Mama. Stay tuned as I, along with my guests, give you marketing, sales, and personal branding strategies that will give you an uncopyable advantage. My guest today is Dr. Jannine Kraus, a naturopathic doctor, acupuncturist, and host of the Health Fix podcast. Jannine helps women over 40, I know some of them, optimize mental and physical performance, and I have good news. Jannine believes no sport or hobby is out of the question at any age, and she will help you get there. We will also talk about Jannine's journey via entrepreneurship, word of mouth marketing, and personal branding. That's a mouthful. Jannine, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me on, Kay. It's fun to talk to you. I like catching up too.
And you say catching up. So we worked together a while ago. I think it started during the word time. Menopause. What does it do to your body when you're in menopause?
I mean, it makes you feel crazy first and foremost, and hormones are up and down. So we can have moments of tears. We can have moments of anger. It's like you have no idea who's going to come out next. And your family members sometimes can be like, what is going on? And so there's that, there's hot flashes, there's gut stuff, there's heart palpitations, insomnia. I could go on for days. There's lots of different things that we can connect to it. But yeah, it definitely is. It's a change in life and definitely can cause some, let's call it hitches in the road or a little hitch in the get up there.
There you go. And I know as a naturopath, your philosophy is not to get you prescribed to pills. We worked through my issues in a natural way and in a way that I didn't have to take things forever. I really like your approach to wellness. And also, I know that you are a former athlete. We'll talk more about that in the bonus episode because I can't wait to hear. But yeah, your goal is to help your patients live their best life. Before we get into health, I do want to talk about the business side of what you do, because you as a listener, I'm sure you are very interested in health and being healthy. In fact, I don't think you can truly be successful if you're not healthy, and really making health a priority is just a huge win. But let's talk about how you got to be interested in being a naturopath, and then how you grew your business and your various interests that you're involved in. Is that too big of a question?
No, I think we can handle it. You'll have to keep me on tabs if I seem to go too far off the rails. But no, I became interested in naturopathic medicine when my mom had cancer, and just watching her journey and seeing all the tools that the naturopaths had compared to just chemo with the conventional side of things. And then really what got me more than anything was the acupuncturist that my mom was seeing. He was just this really sweet Chinese man who noticed that I was interested in what he was doing and took me around and would show me all kinds of things. And at 15 years old, you're thinking the guy's doing magic. I don't know what he's doing. People come off the table and they have color in their face again. This is cool. And I still wanted to be a pro snowboarder in the back of my mind. I'm not going to lie. But by the time I had turned 16 and my mom was still dealing with cancer, I had it set that, yeah, I'm going to be a naturopath. I rarely spent a little bit of moments thinking about being a conventional doc, but quickly decided, nah, I'm not going to do that. And so, yeah, that's how I became a naturopath. And then how did business develop? You know, you have this idea that you put out your shingle and everyone's going to come. And no one in school taught us about business. I really used my dad's business skills and just watching my dad meet with people. My dad, I didn't choose his method. He liked to go to the bar and hang out. Not quite my jam, but I would find...
I have to ask, what kind of business is he in then?
He was in excavating. And so all the contractors, he would do a lot of mingling over beer and pizza on rainy days when nobody was out working with the guys doing construction and concrete and roofing. I briefly worked for him for a few years in high school, and so I got the lay of the land there, but chose that, that was not my jam. But I saw him network, and that's the thing, just like you mentioned in your book, the networking and meeting people and just making friends with people before seeing them as a client. And I enjoyed that part of hanging out with my dad. And so when I realized like people aren't just going to come because you put out your shingle, I was like, okay, I have to make friends. And who should I make friends with? And it naturally started because I like going to the gym. And I would go to different classes and I was just making friends with people. And eventually the question becomes, what do you do? And that's how it naturally would happen. And so to this day in Tacoma, I still have quite a few of my gym friends that see me in my practice. And I, of course, joined in a business group and where I met you as well. And that was one of the best groups to be able to just make friends and see how I could network, but also how to make a referral. Because we're taught like referrals in doctor business. Yeah, someone got to see somebody for an MRI. It has to happen. It's not like you choose that particular situation. But yet for situations in where patients have different things going on, and I can refer to a physical therapist that I like, or a massage therapist, or someone needs health insurance, someone needs certain things. That's how it went together for me. And so really just making friends, creating connections. And that's how business grew and has grown all these years. Yes, have I spent money on marketing, social media ads, all those things? Absolutely. But really the return on investment really comes with the personal relationships, to be honest. That's where it's been for me.
And that what's one thing that's interesting to me about that is the thinking about your moose. So as on the Uncopyable framework, you just read our new book, we call your ideal target market your moose. So for your dad, who's an excavator, he's hanging out in the bar. And yes, he's friendly and you never know where connections will lead. But also those are his moose, right? And you, because you're involved in a profession that you are totally passionate about. And I just have to give you a shout out. If you're listening, Dr. Jannine does a lot of virtual work. Once she moved out of the area, we continued to work together and you were so helpful, but totally invested in my success and how the results that you were helping me achieve. I can't even say enough about that. So you listening, if you're interested in exploring that, please, we'll give you all the links to contact Jannine and get some more resources. So you at the gym are talking to people. Yes, then we both joined a local business networking group. And that is powerful because you're giving referrals, as you said. But when you get a referral, of course, what's your first reaction? You want to, return the favor, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's exciting. You're like, ooh, someone to work with. And now how can I help you? And you just keep thinking about that. How can I help? And that's probably been a mantra maybe in the back of my head. How can I help someone before they need help? How can I help them achieve their goals? How can I get to that next level? Help them get to their next level that they want to get to with business. So keeping that idea in the back of my mind.
That's great. So you ended up having a physical clinic, and I know your business model's changing. We'll talk about that in a little bit because now you serve clients in a really highly customized way, right? With the VIP half-day assessment. So again, we'll give resources on that at the end, but let's talk about some of the things that I noticed even on your website, things that you're doing. You've got affiliate marketing. You also have something that you said was the best, we call them lead magnets, that you've ever had. And that is a what?
My quiz, the quiz.
The quiz.
Yeah.
So tell me about the quiz, even though I took it. How does that work?
No,
and why, if you're listening as a small business owner or even entrepreneur, but literally even a salesperson, anybody who wants to attract more moose, I'm totally fascinated with quizzes. So tell us more.
Most of us grew up in the era of Vogue and Cosmo and them asking, are you going to be compatible with this partner or whatever it may be? And the fun part about it was fun to take a quiz. And so I thought to myself, okay, I'm going after my moose. What does my moose want? My big thing is aging well and optimizing health as we get older. So how do I write a quiz for someone wondering like, how am I aging? Am I aging fast? Is it what's causing it? Where can I intervene? And so the idea was to write a quiz specifically for my, in my opinion, aging accelerators and what might be accelerating someone's aging. They get the answer. And then from there, of course, it goes into a welcome sequence and different things of that nature and tips and
I think we should not say of course, because some people listening might not know about how that works. So
okay.
Let's pretend we don't know about this because I personally still have a lot to learn. So you take a quiz And
Yeah.
then you get an email with the results about you and what's going on with you and possible steps you can take. And I don't know about you listening, but I'm pretty much the most interesting person in the world. I want to know about me.
Yeah.
And I think all of us are like that, right? So they get results, and then what you said that there are follow-up emails. So how does that work, and what's your goal with that?
Yeah, so the follow-up emails, otherwise known as a welcome sequence, are emails that are going to be addressing the certain pillars of aging, the different things I mentioned, accelerators that I see. And I talk about what things we can do based on which accelerator you have. And I chose to not make individual email sequences, so a series of emails for each one, because it's a lot of work. I streamlined it so that each email that goes out to the list and the folks who had signed up for and took the quiz, it's going to say if you have this particular type of aging accelerator, then try this, depending on what the email in particular talks about. And I know I have 4 emails specifically. The 5th one I think is more just about hang around. There's more tips, because once you go through this initial sequence, then you're going into my 3 emails a week where I talk about health and wellness and just my different podcasts that are coming out too. So that's how that works.
Yeah. So you have your own podcast. You're obviously guests on other podcasts. Mm-hmm. So you're nurturing those relationships with emails, and you do have a blog. And I think you post every day a little something on your blog. Is that true?
So on the blog, it's about 3 times a week with the emails, because I repurpose my emails into blogs so that we can up the SEO, so we can work on the search engine optimization, meaning just more things for those little buggers to crawl and give me more ranking for having more words out there, if you will. Now, that's where my information on that ends in terms of my knowledge. My husband's the one who does the rest of that. So there's 3 of those. And then I have Instagram and Instagram stories. And usually I'm going to do a daily story of some sort related to either something that came up in my practice, something that's on the podcast, or if I just need to share one of my friends' programs or something they're doing, which is a really huge thing that I recommend for a lot of folks to do, is share what your friends are up to, because now this is another way of networking and creating buddies that'll share your stuff too.
And the first thing you said was about referrals, and we all think, how do we get referrals? And you're saying, wait a minute, give referrals. And now you're saying, hey, share what your friends are up to. And of course, I'd love to have you share our podcast, our conversation together. And when someone does something nice for you, you obviously want to do something for them too. So I think all of those are great ways to connect with your moose. We like to say on the mind of the prospect when the prospect is ready to buy. So when you're emailing and giving them content, how do you draw people in to go to the next step, like call to action? I know, what's your call to action?
Sure. I vary them depending on the email. I don't always say work with me, because I feel like that gets boring. And so I have 3 that I rotate through. Yes, there is the work with me, and it's book a call to chat to see if we're a fit. And then the second one is listen to the podcast. And then the third one may be something like check out my friend's program that they're promoting that I think could be a great thing for you. Or it could be check out another podcast I was on. So something that's more of a promo kind of thing. Or it may be one of my affiliate marketing programs too, or products that I use as well, just to give them a shout.
And yes, and on your website, you do have quite a few affiliate products. So how do you choose those, and how do you earn income from that? How does that work?
Sure. I think there's a lot of people out there who choose affiliate products just to choose them because they were offered them. I'm very discerning. Most of the products that you see on there are either ones I've used for years and years, just as a naturopathic doctor, or they've been companies that have approached me. I've looked at their stuff, really got to know the owners, talked with them. Maybe they've been on my podcast, and I tried the product and was like, I really like this. For example, Finley and Green's menopause moisturizer, amazing stuff. I would literally, Frank's Red Hot Sauce, put that on everything. My dry elbows, my heels. It is amazing. There's certain products that you try and you're just like, wow, this is amazing. And that's how the affiliate marketing came about. I don't believe in just taking because if I took every email that came to me, hey, try this, hey, do that, it's just too much. And some of the products that I am pitched when you look at who owns the company,
Mm.
when you look at ingredients, they're not quality products. So just something that I highly recommend. If you're going to do affiliates, you want to make sure that you stand behind the products or the programs and the people that you're representing.
And I know when we worked together, you were always trying to find the best product and at the best price, because some of these supplements, things that you can take add up. So I appreciated that you were wanting to help me find the best price. And some of the problems that you help people with are not what you might expect. I know that you are big on gut health. So why don't you explain a little bit about what that means?
Sure. A lot of people think about it just as probiotics or maybe digestive enzymes if they've dove into the whole subject a little bit more. But really, gut health can be related to your mood. It could be related to how you process hormones and detox hormones. So there's a lot more going on there. And really, the biggest thing I'm doing is looking at the functionality. How do you swallow your food? How do you chew your food? Do you sit down to eat? Entrepreneurs are notorious for eating on the go, standing at the kitchen sink eating, speaking from experience. So no calling anybody out there. There's a lot of aspects with the gut health that really do tend to be part of your business and how fast you need to eat to get from one place to the other and so functional. I would say that probably the number one thing that we overlook is that we have teeth and we don't use them as much.
We don't use our teeth as much. Interesting.
Yeah, just not chewing as much.
Not breathing, right? I have a friend who's a yoga teacher. I'm sure you're all about that too. It's amazing how we don't breathe. And I know you're an intense skier and I'm a perennial beginner skier. But one time my quads were killing me. And my friend who teaches yoga, she said, "Are you remembering to breathe?" And I thought, no, I'm not remembering. I'm like so tensed up. And my skis trying to get down the hill, our instinct is to hold our breath. So these little things that our bodies are supposed to do for us, like you said, chewing. How many times? My husband, now he's older, he doesn't eat as much or as fast. He could pound down a hamburger in 3 bites, right? That can't be good.
No, I don't think so. But yes, but it's common. It's so common. And they're free. They're a lot cheaper than spending money on digestive enzymes and all the other things to counter and all the acid reflux medications. So I usually try to start with the basics. And if those are covered, then we'll move on to the next thing.
I like that. So everybody listening, at least you can chew your food carefully, which again, it sounds okay. We know that, but knowing and doing are 2 different things. And especially like you said, when we're on the go. So what else should we help listeners out with? We've covered some of the entrepreneurial things that you're doing now. I love the quiz idea and the affiliate marketing. Also, just to point out that all this content developing is content marketing. And you said that you've fortunately married a man that helps you with all of that. So he does help you with SEO. How does that work?
Yeah. So he went to school for website design and development back like 20 years ago, back when websites were really just starting to take off. So he is like the WordPress guru since he started with the beginning there. And so he just takes classes on the side. He doesn't work besides with me on this. He takes his little classes on the side and maintains the website, maintains the SEO. He posts my blogs. He posts my podcast. I do my own editing, but he does the posting of it and then making sure that it gets to all the different outlets like Spotify and those things. How that happened.
I know there's so much out there. I use Buzzsprout as my platform and then it spreads it everywhere. But the SEO thing is very important if you want people to find you. And so how do you get most of your clients? Because you've got the word of mouth, you've got the content, your podcast, your blog. How do most of your clients come to you now?
Honestly, still word of mouth. Still word of mouth after all these years. I have some clients. I started in Tacoma in 2013. So I'm working on 12 years of being in the Tacoma area. So a lot of people know me and a lot of people have worked with me over the years. And some of my folks I've had for almost 12-ish years. So just a lot of word of mouth. I got myself a little connected in with the police department and the fire department. So a lot of the first responders come in. That's the biggest aspect. Have I been published in certain articles in different places? Yes, but I don't get as much there. Granted, I've not been in the biggies like Cosmo or Inc. or something like that. But I will get some leads there. The quiz is the other biggie. That's my other big one. And usually the way people come is because they heard about me from someone else. The person directed them to my website. If they take the quiz and then they book a call with me and say, hey, so-and-so, and my cousins or uncle, brother, you name it. A lot of family referrals too.
I want to take a quick break to ask you a question. Does your personal brand set you apart and make you unforgettable? If you're not 100% sure, you need my free email series, 5 Steps to a Profitable Personal Brand. Sign up and get a daily email for 5 days plus a bonus, a list of personal branding shortcuts that will give you an uncopyable advantage. Go to beuncopyable.com/5-emails. So that leads me to something I certainly want to touch on. And I know you just read our new personal branding book, Uncopyable You. Create a brand that gets people to know you, to like you, to trust you, and of course, remember you. And I would like to have you talk about your own personal brand because I think that it touches on all of those. So what do you feel like, how would you describe your own personal brand? You also said it's evolved.
It has. If I look at the beginning of the days with personal branding, it was a hot mess. My website was all over the place. I didn't have a signature color. Interestingly enough, I did incorporate orange
I love that.
into my logo. I think it may have come in the background of some of Kay's musings of previous books. But yes, I have, it's maroon, purple, blue, and orange. And it has a topography map kind of background. And really the personality of my brand is being active and getting out and doing the things you want to do. And so it's an active brand. I like to put it as no limits kind of thing on yourself in terms of what you can do. And really just the biggest thing, if I had a mantra or I had the one-liner, my one-liner is don't age like your mom or your grandma. And for a lot of people you may have very healthy moms and grandmas, but a lot of folks do not. Or I could probably say, don't go out like my mom. Unfortunately, she passed of cancer. And really a lot of the things looking at it, I'm going, there was a lot of mindset stuff we could have worked on. There was a lot of different health things because she got caught in the microwave and the 80s fads of all the low fat and the margarine and the plastics. And who knows?
Did she drink Tab?
Yes. Oh,
if you're old enough to remember.
Snackwell's, Tab, all the stuff between the 70s, 80s, and 90s, she jumped on board of all of the trends. And it is what it is. But it's one of those things of just thinking like, look at society, look at what's happening with folks that are in their 80s and above. And the number keeps getting higher as I keep getting older. So I'm going with 80 right now and going, hey, look at what that looks like. And I want to be like the folks that are out golfing. I want to be like the folks that are on bikes. I want to be like the folks out dancing and whooping it up. And so that's my brand. If someone wants to be active and have fun and get out and adventure, that's my brand. Those are my moves. And women over 40 in particular. I do have a lot of guys too, though, so I can't completely exclude them. But I'm a woman. I get women stuff a little bit better than guy stuff, but I still rock the guy stuff every so often.
And this podcast, I do have a lot of guys listening, and shout out to you listening because this stuff is good for women, men, whatever you are, however you define yourself. This is universal, evergreen information that will help. And you really do live your brand, represent your brand. You are very active. You follow your own, I shouldn't say prescription because we're not talking about prescriptions, but a prescription really is your advice, living that healthy lifestyle, eating healthy food, all the things that you and I talked about, and not aging, like you said, like most of our parents and grandparents. A lot of our moms at 40 already looked old with their little helmet hairdos, house dresses. But how would you break down the main things? Activity, food, let's list the top 3 or 4 that you should really pay attention to when you're listening.
Yeah, activity and food are huge. Another big one is your internal dialogue. We're always talking to ourselves all day long. And whether it's business, whether it's health, what we say to ourselves, how we act on what we're saying to ourselves and really take that to heart is important. Because if we're in a negative loop about business or a negative loop about our health, it's going to reflect in our health. And so I really feel like we've got to have that aspect of things. Before, maybe 10 years ago, I'd be like, it's nutrition and movement, circulation. But really, I don't see the thought process going away from it. And I know a lot of people say mindset, and I've said that before too, but I think it's more than mindset. It's much more than mindset. It's deeper than that. And it's really how we're approaching things, because the longer I've been in the game, the more I see that we all have an electromagnetic field around us. We're all electrical beings. And if that electromagnetic field, which is the physics, is compromised, we're going to get sick. Our chemistry will start to show. So the labs will change. We'll not feel great. And so if we can protect our vibe, our good energy vibes, and I know it sounds super hippie, but the truth is, if we can look inside and go, am I just grumpy all the time? And I'm saying all kinds of negative stuff to myself. That is not good for my vibe. So thinking about how to really take a hard look at your thought process and go, okay, clearly if I'm going pretty negative, I'm not enjoying life. Where can I let go of some things, and where can I really go after what I really want? And yeah, just being true to yourself. That's what I can say.
And that is true, especially with what's going on in the world today. And I always laugh because we think everything's just gone to hell in a handbasket right now. You read articles that were written in the 30s or the 40s or any decade, and it's always the same.
Yeah.
But we have so much stress. So if we are in that negative pattern loop, do you have any of your own little hacks that you use to get out of them? I'm guessing one is exercise and the outdoors, because I know you. But why don't you tell the listener, what are your ways of beating that?
Sure. Yes, you're absolutely right. I'm going to say outdoors and getting outside and breathing first, but not everybody loves that situation. So the next thing is looking at, what do you really like? Most people have some song or something that gets them up and they got a groove. It can switch things for you really fast. So with entrepreneurs, and even myself, I find it really important to have your playlist. Get you out of a funk playlist. Whether it is funk music, whatever your music is that you like, have a playlist on the side and pop that on if you're feeling grumpy. It can change things. Now, another thing you could do to calm down cortisol, and this is my other hack, I feel well, or quick trick to get things down, is you could stick your thumbs in your ear. You've got like a little ridge in the ear just above the ear hole. You could stick your thumbs there and do moose ears. This will make you laugh just looking at what the moose ears.
You got to watch the video to see this, guys.
Yep, you guys got to watch the video. Teaser.
So just explain. So you're hitting like the top of the inside.
Yep, just right on that ridge. Yep, just above the ear hole.
Okay, and you're going to just push up.
Just push up in there. You can push back a little. Sometimes it feels good up and back. You could even massage in there. Wow. That is 0.0 in Chinese medicine. We could needle it, but it feels better to have your thumbs there versus a needle. And if you have a watch on, you can watch your heart rate come down as you're pressing that and just rubbing that area. It's a very calming point. And if you really have the ability to lay down, put your legs up, and do the moose ears, now you have 5 minutes of breathing and just hanging out, and that'll bring your cortisol down too, and your heart rate.
I love the fact that you called it moose ears. I think I had my fist clenched, but I think I need to do that for moose.
It's ears, just more fun. It's fun. Who hasn't done moose ears?
Feel good.
Yeah.
So if someone wants to get a little more detail on how to do that, do you have any resources, or should they go on YouTube or what?
I've got some I can link it over to you on my Vimeo stuff. So I'll get you some. So
that would be nice, because most people are listening to this, and you know what? You just missed a really good show, but you can go on YouTube and watch. But wow, those are just really awesome little things that we can do. The music is huge. I do have a playlist, and Prince, Beyonce, like a whole list of artists. I can't believe how music can really affect your brain.
Huge. And for a lot of the different musics, depending, for some people, the solfeggios, like the different frequencies, can be just soothing to the brain. So maybe you don't want to listen to someone singing, but you want the frequency. And so looking at all of those, there's tons of research over decades about the different hertz. And gosh, Bob Marley wrote a lot of his stuff in 528 hertz, which is the hertz for love and feeling love in yourself. Imagine. John Lennon was also, the song Imagine was written in 528 hertz, which is like one of the most chill hertz. And so just something I'll pass out there in terms of if anyone likes either Bob Marley or John Lennon, those are some other just really chilling songs that you can listen to. But like Beyonce, all that, whatever your jam is, go with it.
And your jam might be different things at different times, right? So sometimes 100%. We're stressed out, we need to chill. And the hertz thing, we don't have time to get into all of it, but I'm so fascinated by it. So we'll talk after and see if you can maybe give us a resource for that too. Let's see, what else was I going to say? The part about your energy and the magnetic field, it does sound a little woo, and yet there's so much out there that cannot be explained that we don't know enough about. And so I am very open-minded to that. And even things like when you talk about your gut, think about the fact that when you're tense or you hear horrible news, your stomach plummets. So your gut is connected to your emotions, and also our bodies are connected to the universe, right?
Yeah, we're all just creatures hanging out. We got this little vibration going to us. I mean, the best way I can describe the vibration is if you walk in a room and everyone's upset or anxious, you can feel that. And when people are happy and having fun, you can feel that too. And yeah, it does sound woo. And believe me, I'm a naturopath. Of course, I'm into the woo, but it's taken me a while to really embrace these kind of things. And the longer I've been in the game, the more I'm like, this is so important to really tap into your own vibe and really, am I feeling good? Am I not? I better change this, especially if you're going into a sales conversation or trying to work on a deal with a client. If you're feeling off, take some time to shake it out and get it right. Because I do believe that there is something with that. And I'm sure you've seen that in terms of just how you felt going into things.
Definitely. That's a great place to end. But I want to say I work by myself. So I'm alone a lot. I'm an extrovert. And so like last night I went to the gym and just instantly it's packed, and it's a lot of big burly weightlifters and people not like me, but there's such an energy in there. That's totally true for me and for probably everyone. So Jannine, that's a great place to end, and you've given us so much fabulous information. I will put all the links in the show notes, including the link to your VIP package, right? Do you want to just explain that one more time?
Sure. Yeah. It's meeting with me, and we spend half a day together. We go through every single physical exam you could think of, minus the PAP. We'll save that for the ladies. That's the female gynecological exam. We'll save that for your gynecologist to do. But everything else I run through, and if someone has labs ahead of time, I prefer that. I can order them, and we look through your labs. We go through how you move, so mobility, balance, agility, and then we take a walk through your house and look at air quality. We look at water quality. We look around for EMFs outside and anything else that we can hint on in terms of areas that you might need to declutter, things of that nature. No judgment, just pure information of all the different aspects that can impact your health. And then I give you a written up plan afterwards. And then you got a plan for the year to go with. And if you want extra support from me, I'm here. If not, you just want to do a tune-up every year like that, that's what I do. And the family's involved too. If you want to bring the family in and them hang out as well, we can get everybody involved.
Wow. Talk about comprehensive. That's really awesome. And like you said, there's so much to think about. Even like you said, I picked up on decluttering because I have a little issue with that. And it really does affect my mental state. Things clean and clear, or they cluttered. So Jannine, thank you so much for just an amazing conversation. I've loved every minute of this, and I know our listeners are going to get a ton of value. So thank you. Thank you, Jannine.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me on, Kay.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Uncopyable Women in Business. See you next time, and always remember to be uncopyable.